Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I'm going to do a video on this page. I'm in Autumn Magic Grayscale Coloring Book from Molly Harrison, and I picked this picture out. It's one of the darkest gray backgrounds that she has in here. I have started a couple of pictures just doing some skin and stuff, so I practiced a little. And I have these Prismacolor pens. If you're wondering, straight line and wiggly line, this means it's a brush pen with the wiggles. And these are like the chisel tip on that side and the small bullet point hard points on this side. So they all have a difference on that. But I like the brush pen for the skin on these smaller body faces. You know, if I had a big face, I'd use the chisel point on one, but since it's a smaller version, I can use this one. And I'm going to do a base color on with this because she doesn't quite look like a vampire or anything. So if it was somebody who needed lighter skin, I would start with this one here. This one is the eggshell, and this is a light peach. This is the dark or deep peach, and it has a pink tone to it, so that's kind of a highlight. The gray scale has its highlights and its lowlights, shadows in already with the coloring, so I just put the pink in to give the skin tone some color. So I'm just going to start with this one and start on the wavy end and start coloring. And I just brush it on. It goes on this color, and you will notice when it dries, it will dry a lot lighter. So we just put it on her, her ear. And just kind of go all over the areas, because like I said, the shadows are already built in, and I'm just putting down a base coat, kind of like I do with the distress inks. I just put it down, then go over it and highlight it with the colored pencils. So, and her arm is in a glove, but the glove looks to me to be a transparent lacy glove, so I'm going to go ahead and color her arm the same color, and of course her lower portion down here. And just make sure I got it covered. I do have a piece of paper behind this because these papers are one-sided, but the marker will bleed through, so I'm just going to let that dry and see how that looks. I'll add a little bit of the pink with the harder tip here, just in some spots while it's wet. Just to give it a little highlight. and we'll see how that dries. Like I said, I can put all the highlights that I need in here, like the darker brown tones and stuff that you would give a normal coloring book. I will do those in the Prismacolor colored pencils and just shade in the areas that need to be shaded a little bit more. I don't have a whole bunch of the markers, so, and I'm really not good at them. I'll put it that way. I can put a base coat down on them, but I mean, you've seen people who can layer them and make these gorgeous, beautiful pictures. I'm not one of those kind of people. I've tried using them and I've tried layering them, and the more I do, the muddier it gets. So I prefer my colored pencils, my inks, and just doing it this way. It's a quick, easy way to put down a base coat though, and then I can go in and fill in the other areas. And what I'm going to do is lower the camera down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. And see, it did come out quite nicely with the already shadows that it has. I'm just going to highlight a few of the areas with the pencil, just in the darker areas that you would have shadows from the clothing or from the folds in the skin, which are basically there for you already with the grayscale shading. I've seen a couple of these pictures done, and I finally got the book because I had a couple of pictures that I had colored already that were digital downloads, and I wanted to see if the book was any different coloring wise with the inks and the pencils than the cardstock I used when I printed them out. Sometimes it seems a little easier, sometimes not. It all depends. I do find the paper it's printed on is kind of thin. So, and of course with the grayscaling, your pencils will not go down as smooth. Your inks will. That's the wrong colored pencil. Your inks will go down really nicely. Your pens go down. The distress ink goes down really nice. And it's just the colored pencils. You can use petroleum jelly, like Vaseline, to rub on the tip of your pencil, and it will smooth it out, which is a nice effect. Or you can use Gamasol, I believe is what it is, and it'll give you a good effect. What I'm going to do is use a little distress ink here, sorry, upside down, and the peacock feathers, and I'm going to do her skirt and her little top in this. So with the top it's small, so I'm going to use the Tim Holtz detail tool here. It's got the little foam head on it. I've been using them for about a week now. I have 5 of them in the set that come that way. They're not exactly, you know, they're kind of off kilter a little bit on the sponge like this one here. But they haven't worn out yet. I did find out that I washed one to get the ink out of the tip. Just ran it in water and sponged it off. And that loosened the little bit of glue that they have on the top of this, and the little foam piece came off. Other than that, I've not had a problem with them ripping, tearing, or anything. So I just take the little ink and I just stick it on there test it on a piece of paper to make sure that I got enough on there. And then we're just going to go in the darkest spots and bring it out. Dark and pull. Kind of spread it out a little bit. Then same on this side. That way, when you're putting the ink down, you're putting it and pulling it. So the darkest is where the darkest lines are. And then when you go the opposite way, you're pulling it, and that way you're getting that clear in the middle. That makes sense to you. And because these little teeny pads are teeny and tiny, they don't hold very much ink, so you have to choose where you're going to put down the thickest or the darkest color. And then I'll just kind of lightly brush it over. That way you get your own little highlights going. Now in the skirt, move some stuff up here so I can get here. Going to do the same thing, dark and then pull down. So in here and pull the color down. When I get down into the bigger portions of her skirt, I will change to a different ink pad, or not a pad, the ink tool here, because this will take forever if I'm doing it just with this little guy. Around her hand. Okay, I'm really kind of liking these little tools. I've gotten kind of used to them. Like I said, I have 5 and they're double-ended, so I can use them with 10 different colors. Maybe I will finish it off with the little tool here. Move some of these markers out of my way, and then I can move the page up for you. I had someone ask about, Tim Holtz also makes a brush. It's a retractable brush, kind of like a makeup brush. And it's got a brush on this end, and you can pull it in and cap it, and you brush on the inks that way. I've found that brushing on the distress inks will not give you a smooth coverage. Kind of gives you kind of a wispy coverage, which is great if you're planning a project that could use a really soft application of the inks, but when I'm using them in the coloring books, I really want as much ink as I can get down for the brightness, vibrancy of the colors. And I'm going to go ahead and get the bigger one for this portion. So, that I had a ink thingy out here. Boom. So this is the tool I'm talking about that's bigger. And you see it's got a little damage on it, but that's okay. This is the one for the blue. You'll notice it'll cover a little bit more area here. And then I just will run it on the bottom and pull it back up. Kind of drawn to these gray scale books because of how I like to use the ink. And in the background, it's really easy to do. Okay, so that is her skirt and her little top. And okay, so I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to also show you the back of the page here, and I'll show you what it does. See, the markers have bled through, but you'll notice that the distress ink does not, which is always a nice thing. That's why I like using it. So I'm going to go ahead and raise the camera so you can see what it looks like as it is. So she's looking pretty snazzy here. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the filming and come back, and I'll do the background and her wings in the second video. So thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you in a little bit.